news as we do pause down for some game talk, although this will directly have, involvement with how games unfold and who wins these games, and all of that will play into this ultimately, and that is the, race for a national championship and what that race looks like. And in years past, that has been obviously what you do in the regular season, and then to a lesser extent, depending on who you are, or greater extent, your conference championship game, and then hopefully get in that call to be one of 4 teams. And we've seen, Baylor, for example, that's the team that we've covered. They've had their 2 or 3 times knocking on the door of the college football playoff, only to never have somebody answer. And there's been plenty of other teams along the way that have not found themselves getting an answer at the door either. There's this just very exclusive 4-team pocket. And now, as of today, that is no longer the case, or will not be the case in the soon-to-be future of college football. 12-team playoff. Nicole Auerbach had this tweet earlier. The 12-team CFP format will be the one that was initially proposed by the 4-person working group. So we've circled all the way back around. 6 highest-ranked conference champions, 6 at-larges. Sources tell The Athletic. A lot of details left to work out to see if it can be implemented before 2026. So all this talk about automatic qualifiers and non-AQs and what this conference wants and this commissioner wants and all of that jazz. And here we are, Grayson, 12-team playoff. And I know people out there got some opinions on this, so just flood the text line in the chat room and we'll get to as many of your comments as we can. But 6 conference champions, 6 best non-champions, top 4 seeds get buys, first-round games hosted on campus. Is that right? Quarter semifinals at both sites. Is that confirmed? Has that been confirmed?
I haven't seen that one tweeted twice, so I don't know.
Yeah, I see that from Front Office Sports, but I don't know. I don't feel like I've seen all of those exactly laid out like that. But I'll double back on that. But bottom line is there's an expanded playoff coming, 12 teams. This is massive news for the sport, and I know for some people out there this is a death knell. And there already have been some. And for others, this is the saving grace. Where do you kind of fall on that?
Yeah, I think this is awesome, to be honest. We've been waiting on expansion. I'm not sure that I was a fan of it had to go to 12. But, 8, 12 doesn't really make a difference to me. It needed to be expanded. More teams need to be included in it. I know Pete Thamel mentioned, there's more money to be made. Obviously, there's a ton more money to be made by doing this. I think it helps every conference, to be honest, as well. And when you look at the layout of it, 6 conference champions implies that a group of 5 champion, the highest ranked one, is getting into the college football playoff, which, again, I think is a great thing for the sport. I also will say, this does leave more room for 4 SEC teams to get in, which is probably going to happen every year. But I also think it opens up the door for the Big 12. Last year would have had 2 teams in the college football playoff. And I think those type of things will happen more often, which, again, is great for the sport. You get to see more variety also in who's playing who in the college football playoff. I think that's a big thing.
Quick check around the room. Jack McKenzie, are you in favor of the 12-team playoff? Yep, you are in favor. Emery Winter, were you in favor of the 12-team playoff? I like it. He likes it. Garrett, what about you?
I get down with it. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so all in favor? I'm in favor of it. I know there's the fears about watering down the regular season and things like that, but I do think there's some counter arguments to that because we do see teams lose games late that should be, playoff eliminators, and because of who they are, and I know it's a very select few that have this benefit of the doubt, but they do still find themselves where that game didn't matter so much. So, when you're saying that it eliminates regular season games mattering, I feel like we've already kind of seen that already in some cases. So that's not my really grave fear for this, but was looking at the details of that, and because this is the first proposal backing around, Ralph Russo did bring that back up. So the details from that first proposal were, I think, some of what I was reading a second ago. 12 teams will be the 6 conference champions, ranked highest by selection committee, plus 6 highest ranked teams not included amongst the 6 highest ranked conference champions. So you got that. Mm-hmm. Ranking of the teams will continue to be done by selection committee. The method and the size and composition will be unchanged. The management committee will modify the protocols required by the change to the playoff structure. That's the boring side of it, but I'm sure that will be a part that we all kind of really dig into to see how this is exactly unfolding and who's pulling strings to make this happen. So that will be something to get a little bit more clarity on. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4, and each will receive a first-round bye. The other 8 teams will play in the first round, higher seeds hosting lower seeds, either on campus or other sites designated by the higher seeded institution. So you'd have number 12 at number 5, number 11 at number 6, and so on down the line. Again, the model allows first-round games played on either the second or third weekend in December in a way that best accommodates the format and participating teams, with at least 12 days between the conference title game and first-round games. The management committee will decide on that. Subject to reaching agreement with bowls, the 4 quarterfinal games and 2 playoff semifinals will be played in bowls on a rotating basis. National championship will remain a neutral site game. And subject to reaching agreement with bowls, 4 highest-ranked conference champions will be assigned to quarterfinals on Selection Day in ranking order in consideration of the current relationship. So if the Pac is number 1, the Big Ten was number 3, they'd go play in the Rose Bowl.
So there's actually